SN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
We're back on the Financial Survival Network. Kerry Lutz here, trying to figure out the direction of these markets. So we've got David Gurwitz here of Charles Nenner Research. David, welcome back.
Thank you, Kerry. Always a pleasure. We can talk about basketball. We have some idea where the playoffs are going to
go. Yeah, another time because we're pressed for time.
Okay, good.
But stock market seemingly kind of directionless. Everybody's saying, well, the NASDAQ head and shoulders due for a crash. Same with, well, you don't really see the head and shoulders formation for the Dow so much and the S&P. What's your take on where they're heading?
Short term, again, all your listeners write to the site, mention David and Kerry spoke, get a free month for the research. About 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Sunday charts. We cover stocks, bonds, commodities, starters. Stocks we wrote on Wednesday, and even though I edited it, you think I remember it. So looking at it now, we're reaching the top longer term. Cycles are down till mid-June. You have big correction. We have to go below certain levels, which we talked about, S&P 1830, NASDAQ 13, 3500, Dow 65. We're on the sidelines. We reached our target. We think long term, that was short term. We think long term, we're near a top in June, and it's long term for years. That's a big call. And Charles has been calling this for a while. He made a call a year ago that was wrong, and he changed it a month later when he found additional cycles. Problem is, CNBC didn't have him on to talk about it. And as you know, Kerry, because you do get the research, we corrected it and got back to this target, but we think this is it for quite a while. The wedge formation.
Yeah.
Long-term chart that you're quite familiar with, and we'll send it out to everybody. Right? So we think big picture stocks are topping. Not all stocks. Like Apple, we think is going back to 700 plus. And grain stocks will go up because we think grains will be bottoming soon. And so we have that kind of scenario. That's why it's important to not just think all stocks are down, but most will be.
Right, yeah. I noticed Apple, it's pretty much going the way you said. It broke 600 last week and looks like it's heading higher. Of course, if you're listening to this show, you have a particular interest in the metals, and their time has, according to Charles's research, not quite yet arrived, huh?
Correct, for the bottom, right. But although we don't mind being long, thinking about options because we're close.
We're getting there.
The only thing gets us thinking we're not sure if the bottom's there because we look at the metal stocks. Some of them look bottoming in several months from now.
Well,
so it doesn't mean they all have to line up the same month because they generally don't, as you know better than I.
You know what makes me think that it's very close? I'm looking at platinum and palladium. All right. Palladium on fire. It's very shortly, in my opinion, going to break its all-time high of 855, and platinum is just so strong. You following them at all?
Yeah, sure. We haven't looked at them in a while, but we definitely do. And you're saying because those are moving up, you think gold is going to be going along with it?
Yeah, the white metal leads the yellow.
Yeah. That's kind of what it seems to have been. So, look, we did, as you know, we did call the top of gold, so we feel pretty good about it. But as also you know, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. What have you done for me lately? Speaking of,
hopefully kept you in bonds, which is a great trade, and we still think bonds have more to go. Till the summer, even till August, they have a good shot to go, and then bonds are sideways and down for the next 20 years or so. So. As most people feel, but it's been a long. People have done TBT a little early.
Yeah, a 10-year, huh? The 10 years been going up and the yield's been going down, and how much further can it go, really?
Right. We don't think much, but we did say at the beginning of the year. It's funny, last year the stock market was up 30%. It's almost like hit a wall.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? How does that work? Like, well, why would someone think it's up 30% is going to go up another 30, which is something always surprises me. But nonetheless, earnings were nowhere near the 30. Maybe there was a mismatch.
Yeah.
Part of what we think is happening. Yeah, but you can't, as I've always said, you can't always just say because stocks go one way, bonds go the other. Because you bought bonds 30 years ago, it's a great trade. And if you bought stocks in 81 was great, 87 was lousy, 2000 was lousy, 2007 was lousy, but there were times when it dipped that were great to buy. So you can't just say stocks and bonds go opposite. There were times parallel. We think they're going to go parallel longer term down, both of them. I think it'll be pretty, and your gold and palladium and silver and things will be going up, and food prices will be going up, and certain stocks will be going up.
Yeah.
Certain currencies going down, one of which we think is the dollar. And so how to play all that, we do our best through our cycles and our technical.
Yeah, speaking of the dollar, I was going to bring that up a little later, but that's looking like, you got this deal with Russia and China, the so-called Holy Grail deal, which to me, that deal in and of itself doesn't look like that big a deal, but the dollar, things are looking down for it long term for sure, right?
Yes, that's what we see.
And where do you see it breaking down? At what point?
We don't know yet. That's a good question. We really don't know. Honestly, I mean, we know what we know. Well, I shouldn't say that. We think we know what we know, but we definitely often realize we don't know.
Yeah.
That's honesty. But being we don't manage money, a broker, is a lot easier to be honest. I don't want your money, pay me monthly to just tell you what not to do, which is not a bad strategy in life. That's why they're called coaches. As we see in sports, coaches do make a difference.
Oh, sure.
As good as these guys are. But we think the dollar will longer term be down. And so even if the Dow goes down a lot, which is what we're thinking, and then eventually goes up a lot in the next decade, if the dollar's value is lower, the stated value of the stock indices won't be the same as they are today given the lower dollar value.
Right.
Back to that.
And other thing I've been watching really closely is oil. Man, up at 104 today. You got a target at 106.80.
Right.
And
First target, yeah. We have another one, which I hate to say, but I'm going to say it. It's 122.
What was that?
122.
Yeah, that's been there for a while.
Yeah, so listen, we called it from high 30s to 147, back into the high 30s and into this 100 range for the last bit of time. So it might be that it gets there, and if it does, it doesn't seem it'll get there because of underlying economic, geopolitical events. Cycles can predict what will happen. We don't know what the cycles predict the result to what will happen. We don't know what will happen. We're not that smart.
Yeah, and interesting, speaking of energy, natural gas. I mean, this winter, man, that thing really was on fire, right? And hasn't really settled down that much either.
No. Well, you taught me a lot of stuff about nat gas. You had. I listened to you also, just so you know. Just for your listeners, Kerry's a smart man.
Not that smart, but yeah.
Well, neither are we, but we fake it as well as we can.
Yeah,
But anyway, so nat gas, although we think nat gas will go back to its lows.
Yeah.
Crazy. We also, I always tell people we scratch our heads also when we look at what the computer says, because we're humans and we don't want to listen to it either,
Yeah.
So, but he did call it once from $6 to $2 when no one thought it was. So something might show up. But I don't know what it is that would cause it, because I'm not that smart. But something will show up that will make us bearish on nat gas again.
Really?
Will there be a huge discovery of more reserves, a lightening of the environmental stuff? I don't know. Something's going to happen that causes it to come down again, which is probably a great time to buy then.
Mm-hmm.
Most people can't really comfortably trade nat gas. Take a person gold, they feel more comfortable.
I know pros who, you said nat gas is the widowmaker.
Yes.
I just knew it was the trade of last winter. I just knew it. I knew it was going to be a cold winter, but you can't trade on feelings. You'll kill yourself.
Unless you're a great trader on feelings.
Yeah, well, I'm not. The first
I have
to
a
admit
client. It's funny. I have a trader who is in touch with another guy because the other guy's always wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a negative indicator.
Yeah, well.
Spoke to him yesterday.
Works in the casino really well when you find a bigger loser than you to bet against.
Yeah. So that's you have to laugh about this also. I mean, we write research, and thank God we don't trade for people because you look at screens all day. But it's very hard to do this. Most people are sitting alone and getting people like me and you saying stuff, and then the next guy, and how do they get it all sorted out? To me, is one of the most difficult things, even if they're right.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. Some traders I know, I never really discussed this with you, they actually purposely put on a trade opposite what they want. And let's say that then they lose money because that wasn't what they wanted. They feel more justified. Small trade, small position, to go stronger the other way.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Philosophy, how to trade. I'll repeat it because your people may not have heard that. You think bonds are going up, short them. And then you're wrong, and you lose $500. But then you go put in a position that you feel more comfortable that'll go make $10,000. I was taught that by some really good traders.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's the way I should have done it. I would have done it much better over the years. So the euro, that's top now, and what are we looking at there?
That's a good question. Close to our target of 140. Daily cycle, only short below 135.90. You have this middle level where I call it hang time. Like the guy jumps up in basketball and stays there, nothing's happening. So that's a move down. If it goes below 135, that means to go much further. People will say, well, how come you're going to give up those 6 points? We're not sure. I'm sorry, those 4 points from 140 to 135.90. We don't know if it'll go that low below 135.90. So we're willing to risk questionable moves in order to take something that's less questionable.
Right.
That's just how we do it, but everybody does it differently. With this information, there will be some traders that short euro now, and then add to it if it goes below 135 and get out if it bumps up.
Right. And the Aussie dollar, man, that thing has been right. Like, you just can't figure out what it's going to do. It should be doing better than it's doing.
Well, I'm just curious why you say that. It's because it's an argument that it should be, but then again, there's all sorts of stuff like in India. We have an India report, and everybody's wow, they got the new government and reform and everything, and all the hedge funds and all the ETFs are going in, and we still all the cycles are down. So who's smarter, the cycles or people who figure out based on news? The same thing with the Aussie.
Yeah.
You could try and figure, but we don't. We know we're not that smart, so something's underlying.
Yeah.
Underlying right now is down, even though logic is as well as crude's on its way up, isn't a crude commodity currency supposed to echo it.
Mm-hmm.
The hip bone side bone thing in this world, that's why we do this, because we try and eliminate that. Some people are really smart, thinking gold has to do this, if the dollar did that. I'm not that smart. Charles, also, who's a lot smarter than me, says he's not that smart. Cycles in each category is something we should focus on.
Yep. Well, you guys have been calling for it to, for a bull move in it for a while, and it just never quite got there, So. Anyway, and then the loonie, the Canadian dollar, that one's just been in the dumps, and it's gone back to its bear market. I mean, not like it was in the 90s, but it just can't catch a break either.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. And it looks like it's stuck there.
Right.
So.
There's a lot. That's another thing. I don't know when you speak to them, what do they deal with stuck position? Do they get out? Do they look through it? Do they hedge it? Do they lower? A lot of times, not everything's been, straight up or straight down. What do people do? There are strategies to make money on sideways.
Yeah.
Call spreads, put spreads. I'm a fan of those. I think that, better math with those.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm an expert how to do it, but that's something people should look into if they're listening.
Yeah, if you're like a serious trader, that's your thing. For me, I just too emotional. I know I don't have the temperament to be there. So, hey, I know not on this newsletter here, but the price of food here, prices, especially beef, all-time highs, grains, being just out of this world here,
It's going to get worse.
We know that. We know that's not even a question. We got the drought, but we've also got inflation heading there too, right?
Right. Correct.
And inflation cycles up, right?
Not yet.
But
deflation first, although not in those areas, in other areas, and then inflation to follow.
Yeah, inflation.
Not pretty. If you put it all together, stocks down, bonds down, inflation, crude price, crude up, food prices up, increased paying of medical and all that stuff. It can be a big squeeze. That's what we see. So,
well, I just got to tell you a little anecdotal evidence here of that because, inflation doesn't occur until the banks start making loans. That's when inflation kicks in because that's when all that money that they've gotten that they're sitting on really goes to work with the fractional reserve banking scheme. And I went to the bank the other day just to open up a bank account where I live in Florida because all my accounts were up in New York. And the first thing they do is offer me a personal loan that I had no desire for. Right. I don't want that. But I did want an overdraft protection on my checking account.
Right.
Just in case.
You just have it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they wind up giving me overdraft protection 10 times more than I wanted that I didn't ask for.
Right.
And that's just, to me, shows that they're opening up the floodgates, and you're going to see.
I'll tell you one quick story. I got to go. It's
sure.
At one of the banks, and I talk to people all the time about their business because I figured, let me learn. I have no interest in this. I do, and they were gearing up for major home refis. They were hiring people. I'm not going to say which bank. And then I went in several months ago when I was saying I don't think things will be so good. And then the woman said to me, "We're not getting the refis we thought. We're not getting the mortgage." So that's what happens. That's the thing about cycles. Cycles are saying the past repetitions running the present and the future, whereas most news is saying the news events are running. Try to really just summarize it in one sense. Then we have target, which is very important, and other technical indicators. But the basic idea is if something happened in a pattern every 10 years, the last 100 years, it's going to happen again. And if someone says, well, why should that affect today? And I always tell people, Google 100-year war cycle.
Yeah.
You'll see, like 100 years ago, there was a war called World War I. 100 years ago, the War of 1812. 300 years ago, there was a War 1714. 300 years ago, 1612. This goes back 1,000 years, early to middle, second decade of every century. Not us. It's not our great research. Just Google it and see. So did they, each 100 years, write a little time capsule telling the next 100 years, 3 generations later, watching it's going to be a war? No. There just seems to be something in the human condition that repeats like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, interest rates down the last 30 years, up to 30 before, down the 30 before, up to 30 before. Seems to be humans operate that way. That's kind of how we do our stuff.
Yeah. And I think that war cycle, we're seeing it now all over the place.
Yes.
And there's also the internal unrest cycle, the civil unrest cycle.
Yeah, we don't know how to measure that. Maybe you tell me something to look at and I'll try and...
Well, I think it's there as well. I think there's a civil unrest cycle, and it's all over the place. And on that note, just tell us where we find you, how we get that free 1-month subscription again, David.
Charles Nenner Research, right into the Contact Us button. David spoke with Kerry, offered a free month, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Stocks, bonds, commodities, currencies, economic indicators, Sunday charts. And we look forward to hearing from your people, because those who come and listen to you, we always find quite interesting. You get it interesting.
Highly recommend it. Invaluable. The link is found on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Click it, and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter as well. David, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you again real soon.
I look forward to it.
FSN Radio.
Urgent alert. Ex-Secret Service agent claims it's worse than people know. One of Obama's former Secret Service agents recently smelled a rat. What he discovered inside our government was so devastating, he only saw one option. He quit. What's worse, he fears what he found could affect your job, your neighborhood, and most importantly, your family, very soon. It's worse than people know, he said in a recent interview, and I'm not trying to scare you either. We too share his concerns. This is why we've devoted the better part of 3 years collecting solutions for nearly all problems created by intrusive governments, and we've succeeded. Go to hiddensecrets1.info to check out all the details. Our panel of insiders have devised a legal but sneaky set of solutions to help you reclaim your privacy from the NSA, opt out of Obamacare, and make a bundle from little-known investments and small business opportunities. Simply visit hiddensecrets1.info. That's Hidden Secrets, the number 1.info.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Are you worried about protecting your wealth against a dollar collapse? Worried about gold confiscation? Owings Metals provides wearable wealth solutions that will keep your wealth safe from a declining dollar and from a government that's getting more desperate by the day. The Indians have understood this for thousands of years. Americans are just starting to catch on. When you wear an Owings Metals 24-karat piece of jewelry, you can safely cross borders and take your wealth with you. Best of all, it's insurable. And unlike a lot of Indian jewelry, it's very durable. It can easily be disassembled and sold off in pieces if you need cash. It's surprisingly affordable and definitely should have a place in your wealth diversification strategy. Precious metals are like so many other types of insurance. You only find out how important and essential they are after disaster strikes. Call Owings Metals now at 855-604-6343. 855-604-6343. Don't wait until it's too late. 855-604-6343 now.
FSN Radio.
Warning, you might live in a no-constitution zone. It's the shocking story you won't see on TV. Depending upon where you live in the United States, you may no longer have constitutional rights. Politicians are quietly squeezing the middle class to micromanage you and extract your wealth. Want to see how? Watch the free video at NoConstitutionZone.com. Soon, you'll have the last laugh by using these cultural contraband tricks and profit like a king. That's NoConstitutionZone.com.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.